They call themselves humans. Admiral Vethrix surveyed the ancient vessel through his bridge displays, his mandibles tightening. It drifted silently at the edge of known space, hull weathered, its form deliberate but inert. 3 centuries of galactic. Cartography had recorded it. Relics, the Council had called it. Primitive, abandoned, unworthy of attention. Yet here it floated, and the humans had arrived first. "Scan confirms no active systems," a junior officer reported. "No drive signature. No weapon output." Vethrix's mandibles curled. So much for relics. So much for inevitable extinction. His voice was quiet, surgical. He authorized the first action. Deploy microprobes. Document, assess, prepare for extraction. They would process it. The Council always processed relics. Begin vector alignment, Vethrix ordered. Ensure containment nets engage in 10 standard minutes. Prepare energy lances at 70%. Ready boarding contingents. The bridge hummed with precision. 1,000 calculations ran in parallel. Range, 40,000 kilometers. Estimated hull mass, 420,000 metric tons. Crew, unknown, presumed none. Threat assessment, negligible. Still, the human's name echoed in Council records as a warning. They were primitive, yes, but also persistent, unpredictable in ways doctrine had yet to account for. Another officer noted, "Council fleets in formation, 92 vessels ready for synchronized engagement." Redundant systems online. Vethrix nodded. These humans cannot respond in time. Their primitive drives will not compensate. The first probe launched. Streams of data flowed back. Hull integrity nominal, shields dormant, structural matrix unresponsive. Still the vessel hummed faintly at sub-sensor levels. An echo of design lost to centuries. Vethrix allowed a sardonic thought. Perhaps the humans had never built anything beyond a rudimentary starship. And yet here, at the edge of Council territory, they moved with quiet inevitability. "Authorization confirmed," he said, mandibles clicking softly. "Engage micro-lances on containment net deployment. Full force." The probes activated, relaying impact predictions, simulated breaches. The Council's doctrine relied on distance and overwhelm, the annihilation of relics before they could matter. Yet the vessel resisted nothing, absorbed nothing, and the humans— where were they? A stinger line flashed in Vethrix's mind. Primitive. Dangerous. He authorized the strike. Energy lances fired. Calculations predicted hull failure within 27 seconds. Telemetry confirmed. Expected outcomes: total destruction, minimal Council risk. "Outcome verified?" Vethrix asked. "Nominal," the officer said. "Predicted destruction metrics match simulations." And then, across the empty void, a faint transmission arrived. Human, single line, unassuming, a voice that carried authority without sound. "We are here." Vethrix froze, authority without fire, expectation without action. He understood with a cold certainty that the humans had not yet begun to fight, but the relic had already chosen. His teeth ground slightly. The Council would learn, and Vethrix would not forget. The relic remained inert, but the humans had answered. "This is a human vessel," the voice said, calm, measured, precise. Admiral Vethrix leaned forward as the transmission repeated. 67. Human escorts flanked the ancient ship, their formations tight, engines at minimal burn, shields active. "No aggression, no provocation, just observation." "Cease maneuvers," the human voice continued. "We are bound by registry codes. This vessel is catalogued under interstellar protection protocols. Any attack constitutes a violation." Council sensors confirmed the claim. The ship's registry was authentic, verified by 3 independent neutral archives. Timestamps matched prior transit logs. The humans were not bluffing. They had prepared documentation before the Council even arrived. Vethrix scowled. "They are still primitive relics," he muttered. "Documentation does not change physics." Yet numbers began to matter. Across the tactical overlay, counters updated in real time. 1,456 civilians marked aboard the ancient ship, evacuation underway. Estimated completion, 90 minutes. Transmission packets included precise coordinates for each evac pod, redundant channels, and sensor verification. Every second, Every civilian, every metric was logged. A junior officer broke in. "Admiral, they are broadcasting metadata. Evacuation logs are live. Civilian counts rising, 20,562 and climbing." Vethrix's mandibles twitched. The humans were not just documenting, they were framing the engagement. Energy lances, ready for deployment, suddenly carried ethical weight. Firing would be illegal, observable, quantified. "Transmission continues," another officer reported. "They refuse escalation. Any strike is logged and timestamped. They cite Interstellar Registry Law, Section 42B, Protection of Non-Combatant Vessels. They are offering full compliance with neutral oversight." A stinger line appeared on the tactical feed. "Attack is illegal." Council calculations faltered. Advanced targeting arrays could predict trajectory, speed, and hull response. But legality was not a vector they had prepared for. Doctrine demanded domination, not consideration of law. Humans had reframed the battlefield. The human voice paused. "We document all actions. Evacuation is 42% complete. Timestamp 00753. Estimated completion in 48 minutes. We do not seek engagement. We only request compliance with codes." Vethrix's fleet adjusted formation. Instinctively, a ripple of hesitation passing through disciplined ranks. "One slip, one misfire, and the humans would have evidence for every casualty." The Council's arrogance collided with quantified morality. "Do we proceed?" Vethrix asked, voice tight. "Recommendation, observe," the aide said. "Transmission. Logs will record any action." Another counter updated, 20,019 evacuated. Precision mattered more than destruction. Every second added weight. The Council's confidence faltered. Numbers and timestamps framed intent, not speculation. The humans held their position with surgical discipline, unshakable calm, and unassailable morality. Vethrix exhaled slowly. They were not bluffing. And for the first time, he realized that the relics were teaching him restraint. The human vessel remained steady, its shields humming softly, evacuation ongoing, and every moment documented for a galaxy that was already watching. The first volleys left trails of light across the void. Council lances ignited, energy beams calibrated for destruction. "Target, human escort line, 67 hulls in tight formation around the ancient ship. Calculations predicted immediate hull breach, catastrophic failure within 23 seconds. Firing in 3, 2, 1, Vethrix commanded. The beams struck. Nothing happened. Shields shimmered and absorbed, not just deflected. Quantitative feedback appeared on tactical displays. 98.7% absorption. The Council sensors recorded energy influx, dissipation, and residual flux. All expected. Damage metrics failed. Beams passed into the void, leaving the humans untouched. A stinger line flashed briefly. Attack failed. "Report!" Vethrix demanded. "Shields are stabilizing faster than predicted. Absorption efficiency, 98.7 to 99.1%. No hull breaches." "Detected," an officer replied. "Projected damage negated." The Council fleet faltered, formation tightening instinctively, then splintering under unease. This was the first visible reversal. Humans had turned what should have been instantaneous domination into null data. Calculations that had always worked were failing in real time. "Second volley," Vethrix ordered. "Adjust for field harmonics." Overcharged by 5%. Again, beams struck, shields absorbed, deflected residuals harmlessly. Counter readouts displayed instantaneous recalibration. Absorption efficiency maintained at 99%. Energy returned to grid or dissipated. In controlled patterns, humans did not even react. No panic, no flinching. Only measured adjustment of shields and formation. Another stinger line appeared. "They endure." Vethrix gritted his mandibles. "How can this be? They are primitive." "Not primitive, sir. Adaptive," the aide said. "Shields recalibrated in 40 milliseconds per microburst. Repetition of energy impact shows 0 damage variance. Their systems anticipate energy projection, not react to it." The Council fleet began to hesitate. Each strike required recalculation. Each calculated outcome was now a question mark. Vethrix's own officers noted time to impact had doubled in practical effect. Energy that should have killed was now effectively neutralized. Countermeasures inadequate. Recommendation: cease fire and reassess, the tactical officer urged. Vethrix slammed a claw against the console. No, they will learn the cost of interference. Human ships shifted slightly, maintaining formation, their shields humming with quiet certainty. Sensors recorded every council signature, every calculation, every failed strike. Data streamed back to human command. Impact nullified, absorption measured, timestamps logged, energy counted. The ancient ship, inert but present, seemed to pulse faintly, as though synchronized with the human's calm defense. Numbers mattered now: absorption, duration, sequence. Every metric highlighted. Failure. Vethrix stared at the readouts, teeth grinding. Energy supremacy, a council's certainty for centuries, had been reversed in seconds. The first lesson was clear. Humans endured. And endurance alone had begun to rewrite the rules of engagement. The void contracted. Human ships surged forward, engines flaring beyond predicted parameters. 67 hulls, each calibrated for maximum safe acceleration, pushed past council estimates. Predictions had accounted for 0.09 C sustained. Humans exceeded it, achieving 0.112 C without structural compromise. Distance became a weapon, speed a measure of inevitability. Admiral Vethrix watched formations tighten and falter. Adjust vectors, maintain envelope, he ordered, but council calculations lagged behind reality. Time and space were bending, and the humans exploited the gap with cold precision. The first collapse occurred in the forward wing. 2 council cruisers, positioned to intercept the ancient ship, found themselves intersected by human escorts, arriving almost simultaneously from perpendicular vectors. Engines flared, evasive maneuvers executed too late, trajectories misaligned. One hull breached shields under kinetic shadow, the other spun in a controlled disable, propulsion offline. A stinger line appeared briefly on tactical displays. Speed is weapon. Formation. Delta compromised. Loss. One hull, propulsion crippled. On another. Repeat patterns detected in lateral sectors, reported an officer. Numbers flickered across monitors. 67 human ships, moving in perfect synchronization, closing 20,000 kilometers in under 12 minutes, leaving council predictions obsolete. Vethrix growled. They cannot sustain that acceleration. They will break themselves. But they did not. Each vessel maintained structural integrity. Engine cores redistributed power dynamically. Shields modulated to absorb gravitational stress. Humans treated physics as a parameter to optimize, not a limit to obey. A secondary collapse followed. Council wings intended to flank the ancient vessel now intersected human vectors. Rail arrays pointed at nothing as enemy ships collided with, projected interception paths. Controllers attempted recalculation. Timing windows were inaccurate by 33 seconds on average. Distances misread by 4,500 kilometers. Adjust fire, Vethrix snapped. But counters lagged. Human ships had already arrived, shields humming, weapons cold, maintaining formation while council cruisers scrambled. The ancient ship remained inert but central, a pivot around which humans orchestrated kinetic geometry. A second stinger line punctuated the moment. They are inevitable. Humans weaponized distance. They turned gaps into traps, acceleration into advantage, timing into dominance. Each maneuver calculated to close vectors precisely when council calculations expected delay. Every misalignment amplified in real time. Vethrix's officers recalculated, repeatedly, each iteration obsolete within seconds. Evacuation data from the ancient ship streamed through human channels. 20,000 civilians accounted for, pathways updated dynamically, all while fleets accelerated. The paradox was clear. Human competence combined discipline, precision, and speed into a tactical instrument that left council doctrine irrelevant. By the 25th minute, multiple wings had collapsed, cruiser counts halved in operational. capacity while remaining hulls disabled engines to avoid further collisions. Human ships hovered at optimal intercept points, holding dominance without firing. The psychological effect was measurable. Hesitation rippled across the Council fleet, like a virus. Vethrix realized the truth. Humans did not need to destroy to dominate. They reshaped space and time itself to assert control, leaving Council officers to witness their own inadequacy in cold, quantified numbers. And at the center of the acceleration, the ancient ship remained, silent, awaiting only the human voice, to command what the Council could not. Impact was imminent. Human railguns powered to full draw. 67 hulls bristled with kinetic arrays, missiles primed, trajectories calculated with millisecond precision. The Council fleet's forward wing, already destabilized from accelerated human maneuvers, was now fully exposed. Every sensor, every targeting node, synchronized for a single objective. Quantified domination without excess. Fire in sequence, Admiral Kalen commanded. Projectiles tore through space. Rail slugs, 12 metric tons each, struck first. Hulls crumpled under precise kinetic placement. Impact times measured, 24, 25, 26 seconds to detonation per salvo. Each strike catalogued in real time. Counters updated. 3 hulls breached. Structural failure immediate. Missile. Waves followed. Non-nuclear, guided to exploit armor gaps. Tonnage destroyed, 4,560 metric tons. Explosive yield minimized civilian risk. Damage confined to Council combatants. Every explosion verified by redundant telemetry. A stinger line appeared on the tactical display, precision over panic. The Council attempted evasive maneuvers. 32 vessels altered course, only to intersect subsequent missile patterns. Shield modulation could not compensate for kinetic momentum. Hull breaches increased. 5 more ships disabled within 42 seconds. Total tonnage impacted. 6,780 metric tons. Casualties remained measurable, but limited. 23 reported. The humans maintained restraint even amid destructive capability. Vethrix's bridge trembled. How are they calculating every vector in real time? They've synchronized propulsion, shields, and weapon timing to anticipate Council maneuvers, an aide replied. Each salvo adjusts dynamically for evasive action. Seconds to impact remain constant despite enemy response. Another stinger. In line flashed. Kinetics do not forgive hesitation. Council ships began to fragment under continuous assault. Forward wings collapsed entirely. Surviving vessels attempted concentrated fire, but human counters absorbed or deflected energy beams. Railguns continued sequential strikes. Missiles followed predictive arcs. One cruiser, mass, 220,000 metric tons, sustained 3 direct hits. Breaches, 2 primary compartments, 1 secondary. Time to impact, 28 seconds. Engines disabled, but hull integrity partially preserved. Human command transmitted updated evacuation logs for the ancient vessel simultaneously. Civilian counts climbed, 20,743. Each action recorded, cross-verified, ensuring operational efficiency did not compromise lives. The dual precision, combat and humanitarian, reinforced humanity's disciplined inevitability. By the end of the set piece, 39 Council hulls were disabled, 10 completely destroyed, tonnage affected. 12,160 metric tons. Seconds to impact averaged 26 across multiple strikes. Human losses, 0. Discipline, moral clarity, and technical supremacy combined to produce an outcome that the Council could not contest. Vethrix exhaled sharply, jaw muscles tense. His fleet's predictability had been exploited, every structural and temporal parameter weaponized against them. The ancient ship remained at the center, silent, awaiting the human voice that commanded the kill shot. Engines hummed in alignment, rail guns cooled, missile bays reset, evacuation continued uninterrupted. Data streams updated, the first kill shot had concluded, and the Council understood that human dominance was measured not in spectacle, but in calculated, quantified inevitability. The feed went live. Across the galaxy, every Council system received it simultaneously. High-resolution footage of the ancient ship, escorted by 67 human vessels, civilians visible through reinforced observation ports, evacuation pods streaming in orderly patterns. No panicked maneuvers, no reckless destruction. Every action documented, every timestamp precise. Admiral Vethrix scowled at the transmission. "They show us what we are," he muttered. "Cowards hiding behind protocol." But the humans framed the narrative differently. Every broadcast included metadata, civilian counts, 20,010, 482 at last tally, evacuation progress, 55%, timestamps accurate to the second. Sensor overlays quantified Council weapon impacts, all nullified. Shields absorbed every strike. Hull integrity remained intact. Numbers, not rhetoric, revealed the Council's overreach. A stinger line flashed on observer feeds. The line they crossed. Legal authorities within the coalition reacted first. Transmissions from neutral archives verified human claims. Interstellar Registry Law, Section 42B. Protection of non-combatant vessels. Every energy lance, every attempted interference logged and timestamped. Council fleets had engaged an unarmed or protected vessel. Evidence could not be ignored. Vethrix's officers noted instantaneous political shifts. Merchant houses froze. Funding. System governors suspended support. Council clerks released previously classified records to independent observers. The galaxy was recalibrating authority in real time. Human fleets maintained formation, shields humming, engines idling. Discipline replaced aggression. Civilian safety remained central. Every measurement, every log, emphasized restraint. The Q message was clear. Humans would dominate, but without cruelty or spectacle. Vethrix gritted his mandibles. They do not merely survive, they teach. Data counters updated. Evacuation. 20,012,678 civilians, 65% complete. Council hulls disabled. 21. Estimated collateral minimized. Even casualties were framed in clinical terms, emphasizing care over destruction. The humans enforced law and moral clarity as rigorously as they enforced tactical dominance. Observers across Council networks noted the contrast. Council doctrine celebrated force, intimidation, and rapid annihilation. Humans measured every action, verified every outcome, and codified restraint. The disparity was undeniable, stark, and quantifiable. Second stinger line appeared. Justice without slaughter. Vethrix issued orders for recalibration. "Do not fire until we have evidence counters," he snapped. His officers followed, forced into procedure by the humans' example. Each second of hesitation, each delayed volley reinforced the humans' position. The Council had crossed a moral threshold, and humanity's response reframed every subsequent engagement. By the third hour, footage of the ancient ship had spread to over 31 systems. Public reaction varied. Shock, disbelief, and recalibration of authority. Coalition councils convened emergency sessions. Observers logged every transcript. Numbers, timing, and verified civilian counts dictated discourse. Human fleets continued. Operations with surgical precision. Shields, engines, and propulsion calibrated dynamically to maintain protection zones. Evacuation proceeded uninterrupted. Legal compliance remained monitored, documented, and unassailable. Vethrix stared at the screens. His fleet had attacked the innocuous. The humans had endured. They had absorbed, corrected, and framed, and across the galaxy, the line the Council had crossed was now immortalized in data, law, and disciplined moral clarity. Admiral Kalen observed, the Council communications feed with measured detachment. Every transmission from the human command revealed layers of preparation that the Council had not anticipated. Redundant fleets, synchronized to exact coordinates, rotated in standby formations. Evacuation corridors were pre-mapped, redundancies built for every conceivable disruption. Civilian counts, 15,472 at last tally, updated continuously with precise timestamps. The humans did not improvise. They executed protocols perfected over centuries. Impossible, muttered Vethrix. They anticipated every contingency before we even arrived. Kalen allowed no outward reaction. Humans had made preparation itself a weapon. Strategic nodes activated automatically, sensors recalibrated dynamically, and redundant communication grids ensured zero data loss. Every ship, every pod, every command followed layers of interlocking contingencies. The Council's doctrine relied on assumption. The humans relied on verification. A stinger line appeared on the tactical overlay. Preparation is dominance. Evidence mounted rapidly. Neutral observers cross-checked evacuation logs, fleet rotations, and legal filings. Every action by human command conformed to interstellar law, registry codes, civilian protection, lawful engagement protocols. Even in the heart of conflict, documentation, timestamps, and redundancy left the Council with no moral or political leverage. Council governors whispered through secure channels. Merchant houses froze assets. Financial backers reconsidered supply lines. Vethrix's authority eroded not through combat losses, but through the unassailable certainty of human foresight. Observe the corridors, Kalen said. Evacuation paths, redundant transit, medical protocols. Every node accounted for. Screens displayed dynamic mapping. Ancient ship at origin. Corridors extending 20,000 kilometers. Pods in staggered rotations. Human ships maintained perimeter, adjusting velocity, acceleration, and spacing to counter any potential Council interference. Every route had backups. Every timestamp verified. The revelation crystallized in political consequences. Coalition councils suspended non-essential operations. Clerks released procedural documents to independent mediators. Evidence packets highlighted the Council's prior failures in protocol adherence. The narrative had shifted. Humans were not only militarily dominant, they were methodical, disciplined, and morally resolute. Another stinger line punctuated the display. Dominance without surprise. Human fleets executed synchronized patrols, sensor grids extending into adjacent sectors. Redundant strike teams remained on standby, not for aggression, but for preservation. Every tactical movement mirrored administrative precision. Every civilian movement, every evacuation pod, every shielded corridor was accounted for in real time. Vethrix realized the Council had underestimated more than technology. They had underestimated process. The humans had converted law, procedure, and preparation into instruments of influence. Political leverage now shifted. Councils across the galaxy recalculated positions, hesitant to oppose a force so precise, so ethically reinforced, so inevitable. By the close of the operation, human fleets had completed positional rotations. Evacuation corridors were fully operational and every timestamp verified. The Council's arrogance, once unquestioned, had been met with an unshakable demonstration of disciplined inevitability, and the galaxy began to watch differently, aware that humanity had always been prepared long before today. The void was still. Human. Fleets advanced with surgical precision, engines humming at calibrated intervals. 67 hulls, each synchronized to millisecond timing, swept through Council sectors in unbroken formation. Redundant sensor arrays identified every Council vessel, every potential threat vector, every escape route. Kinetics were ready, but restraint remained paramount. "Commence system neutralization," Admiral Kalen ordered. The first system fell without a broadcast. Council cruisers attempted coordinated fire, but railgun salvos intercepted, missiles guided precisely to disable propulsion without unnecessary hull damage. Hull breaches counted 4 primary, 2 secondary. Tonnage impacted 5,120 metric tons. Seconds to impact 26 on average. Evacuation corridors remained intact. Civilian counts continued to climb, 18,937 by last telemetry update. Stinger line appeared on tactical feeds. Domination without spectacle. System by system, the Council forces collapsed. Wings attempting flank maneuvers were intercepted before vectors aligned. Shield recalibrations failed to compensate for human timing. Surrender rates increased predictably. 81% of personnel signaled compliance within 37 minutes of engagement. Ships powered down, weapons locked, and communications broadcast surrender protocols automatically. Kalen observed without surprise. This was procedure, not chaos. Every loss was quantified, every surrender catalogued. Counters updated continuously. 12 cruisers disabled, 6 fully destroyed, remaining hulls partially compromised but intact. Tonnage impacted, 12,780 metric tons. Human losses, 0. Council morale eroded under observation. Each system's failure was recorded, time-stamped, and transmitted to neutral coalition archives. Political observers noted the contrast. Humans, neutralized threats without mass casualties, reframing dominance as both technical and ethical. Another stinger line punctuated the operation. Silence confirms control. By the third hour, 2 systems had been fully neutralized. Calculated vectors allowed humans to maintain optimal positioning for the next phase. Evacuation corridors in contested sectors remained fully operational. Civilians counted and verified 20,020, 102. Every pod and ship monitored, every timestamp. Cross-verified, Council ships attempted desperate maneuvers. 1 cruiser, mass 220,000 metric tons, attempted lateral escape. Railgun impact. 3 primary hull breaches, engines disabled, surrender logged 20 seconds later. Another vessel intercepted missile salvo, total tonnage impacted, 1,560 metric tons. Surrender recorded 34 seconds post-engagement. By the 5th hour, 6 Council systems were neutralized, surrender rates stabilizing at 81% across all units. Remaining vessels were encircled, propulsion disabled, communications restricted. Human ships maintained minimal risk posture, shields active, but engines idle when unnecessary. Civilian count, 20,000 and 23,118. Vethrix's reports filtered in. Data. Overwhelming, morale fractured, authority collapsing without dramatic spectacle. He realized the lesson. Humans combined precision, discipline, and moral clarity to dominate without unnecessary force. By hour 6, remaining Council forces had ceased active resistance. Hull losses totaled 22,340 metric tons. Disabled vessels, 39. Surrender rates consistent at 81%. Every action quantified, every timestamp verified. Human fleets repositioned, engines idle, shields humming. Evacuation continued. Communications transmitted to neutral observers. The galaxy watched quietly. 6 hours of engagement. 0 human losses. Complete domination. Controlled restraint. And the Council learned that silence could be the loudest demonstration of power. The Council had surrendered. Human ships maintained formation, shields active, engines idle. No celebratory salvo, no punitive strikes. Discipline held every hull in precise position as fleets moved among the disabled Council cruisers. Mercy was protocol, not choice. Admiral Kalen's voice carried calmly across comms. All personnel are to be secured. Medical teams deploy to all disabled vessels. Evacuation corridors remain open. No further aggression. Medics and automated drones flowed through the Council fleet, stabilizing injured, repairing critical life support, and ensuring civilians aboard secondary vessels were unharmed. Civilian counts updated, 24,015. Every timestamp verified, every pod accounted for. Humanity measured its victory in preservation, not destruction. A stinger line punctuated the operation. Justice, not vengeance. Council officers transmitted surrender protocols. Hundreds of hulls were fully operational but unarmed. Humans boarded, confirmed compliance, and implemented procedural trials. Prisoners were catalogued, evidence logged, no execution, no spectacle. Discipline replaced dominance. Authority shifted, not by obliteration, but by unassailable legality and moral clarity. Every action recorded, Kalen noted. Trials will be conducted according to interstellar law. Documentation verified by neutral parties. No retaliation, no arbitrary measures. The Council's political network fractured under scrutiny. Governors and merchant houses realized human victory was comprehensive, yet restrained. Their authority, once unquestioned, collapsed as the galaxy observed quantified mercy and procedural, then rigor. Evacuation corridors were extended, medical teams remained active, and legal frameworks enacted automatically across systems. Vethrix watched through feeds, mandibles tightening. 24 council ships were fully secured, 13 partially disabled. Personnel accounted for 8,312. Casualties minimized, 42. Tonnage impacted, 12,560 metric tons. Human losses, 0. Every figure confirmed, time-stamped, transmitted. Second stinger line appeared. Mercy is supremacy. Human command ensured no council ship remained in hostile condition. Evacuations were documented. Medical interventions logged. Prisoners prepared for trials with all evidence compiled. Ethical dominance replaced terror as the defining narrative. Every action demonstrated discipline, clarity, and inevitability. Neutral. Observers across 34 coalition systems confirmed compliance. Evacuation statistics, medical logs, and prisoner counts were transmitted simultaneously. Numbers and timestamps proved consistency, morality, and operational efficiency beyond dispute. Kalen addressed his fleet. Maintain station. Shields. At full. Engines ready. Observation continues until trials conclude. Council fleets remained in place, powerless yet unharmed. Authority had shifted. Humans did not revel in conquest. They enforced order, protected civilians, and ensured justice. By the operation's conclusion, Council resistance was nullified, surrender verified at 100%. Tonnage impacted, casualties, and evacuation. Data fully documented. Humans had rewritten the rules of engagement, dominance paired with restraint, and as the last medical drones departed Council hulls, the galaxy saw that power need not brutalize to assert itself. Discipline, mercy, and law were the instruments of human inevitability. The Council fleets were neutralized. The ancient ship remained at the center, inert but secure, its hull humming faintly under human monitoring. 67 escorts maintained perimeter, shields calibrated, engines at idle burn. Civilian evacuation was complete. 25,419 accounted. 4 timestamps verified. Humanity had won, but the victory was quiet, precise, disciplined. Admiral Kalen reviewed the tactical feed. Sensor arrays stretched across the outer rim, scanning residual council sectors and adjacent systems. All readings were clear, except one. A faint, anomalous energy signature pulsed beyond mapped coordinates, just past the last known coalition. Outpost. Initial scans suggested mass, velocity, and energy output inconsistent with known species or artificial constructs. Outer rim anomaly detected, the sensor officer reported. Energy output, 1.2 x 1012 joules per microsecond. Trajectory, non-linear. Estimated approach, velocity, 0.08 c. Kalen's eyes narrowed. Unknown. Log and monitor. Do not engage unless hostile. The fleet adjusted sensor focus, triangulating. The anomaly across multiple arrays. Data streams updated every 30 milliseconds. Redundant channels verified accuracy. Every measurement confirmed a presence, vast, disciplined, and deliberately silent. The outer rim had awakened. A stinger line flashed briefly on tactical displays, unknown, inevitably approaching. Communications transmitted encrypted alerts to Central Command. Science teams began cross-referencing historical charts, ancient records, and deep space probes. Nothing matched. Neither Council archives nor neutral observers had encountered a signature remotely similar. Humanity faced a new variable, one beyond law, strategy, or prior battle doctrine. Kalen leaned back, jaw muscles tense. We've fought predictable adversaries. This is different. We will need full operational readiness, not just fleet discipline. Data. Counters flickered. Anomaly mass estimated at 9.4 x 107 metric tons. Emission pulses every 3.2 seconds. Unknown composition. Distance from nearest human sensor, 2.8 million kilometers. All calculations suggested potential for rapid escalation if contact occurred, yet the entity had not fired, had not maneuvered toward aggression. Human Command dispatched exploratory drones, each programmed for autonomous assessment, collision avoidance, and immediate data relay. 50 drones launched, each maintaining 3 redundant communication links. Transmission logs ensured the anomaly's activity was fully recorded, every microsecond counted. A second stinger line appeared. The galaxy is larger than victory. Kalen convened his senior officers. We've secured the council. Every system stabilized. But the horizon has changed. Outer rim forces unknown. We adapt. We prepare. We endure. Shields hummed in harmony across the fleet, engines idling yet ready, human discipline converting anticipation into operational advantage. Evacuation metrics, fleet positions, and sensor readings updated in real time, preserving procedural clarity while expanding situational awareness. Every number, every timestamp, every movement reinforced the human edge. Calm, surgical, unshakable. The Chur anomaly pulsed again. Distant, but unmistakable. A reminder that the galaxy held challenges beyond even the most disciplined planning. The ancient ship, central to prior victory, remained inert but observed, ready to respond to the human voice. Kalen exhaled. Humanity had conquered the known. Yet beyond the rim, the unknown awaited, and with engines humming and sensors focused, the fleet turned its attention outward, not with fear, but with disciplined inevitability. The future was vast, the horizon uncharted. The galaxy itself was about to test humanity's next measure.